Welcome to Popcorn Talk, featuring movie discussion, news, and interviews. Popcorn Talk, we talk movies. And now, here's Popcorn Talk's The Con Guy Comic-Con Prep Show.
I'm Maria Menounos. And
welcome to The Con Guy Comic-Con Prep Show Home Edition. Your home for news and insider opinions from the world of Comic-Con, fandom, pop culture, and virus stuff, which we're going to actually have a lot of fun, guys. We're going to try to keep you guys... we're so glad that you guys are watching. Of course, what else do you have to do? Anyways, thank you so much. My name is Jim. I am the editor-in-chief here of theconguy.com. Who else do we have in the room? Derek.
Hi, my name is Derek. I am a contributor to theconguy.com and a regular here at the Con Guy Show.
And I'm Katie, and I do social media for the Con Guy as well as a host at AfterBuzz. And I'm the Con Girl, so...
Hey everybody, my name is Ben Cleaver, old buddy Ben, and people always ask me, hey Ben, why are you drinking out of that red cup? Well, it's because whenever Ben Cleaver shows up, it's always a party. I'm an actor comedian, I'm a regular on this show. On occasion, I contribute to the website. I suppose I should do more of that right now since I've got a lot of more time on my hands.
Yeah!
There you go. And I'm Cheeseman on the couch here in my room/office here with theconguy.com. I'm also a Terminator. You can see my little red dot.
And also, we have somebody who's keeping the whole thing together, Ryan.
That's right, y'all. Here in Encino, California, just making it work. We're pulling through. We're watching movies we've never seen. I saw my best friend's wedding the other day, and I loved it.
Oh, that's a delight.
And now I'm going to say
happy.
a little prayer for all of you. So let's have an amazing show.
All right, we're going to have an amazing show
for you.
We're going to have an amazing show tonight, guys. Tonight, the topic of the show is 28 movies later. We're going to be talking about the best post-apocalyptic movies to watch right now, to watch in your living room, your bedroom, and have a lot of fun doing it as well. These are movies that we have all enjoyed, and these are kind of like the movies that can take your mind off the crap that's happening outside right now. But
things could be much worse.
Oh, things could be much worse. And
these movies will show that.
This is true. But this is what we're going to go over tonight. First, Katie's going to give us the convention update, and then Derek is going to take us through something which is kind of odd, which is all of the movies being bumped out of their berths and moving somewhere else on the calendar. These are movies that are presently scheduled to come out, and then we're going to go through our 28 movies later list. And if we have time, we might have a special treat from Ben at the end of the show, which we're excited about. Speaking about Ben, he streamed a very cool event today from Los Angeles. Ben, can you tell us what it was you were streaming today?
So in case you haven't realized it yet, I'm actually a big, die-hard Los Angeles Rams fan. For those of you who don't know, that is a football team that plays in the National Football League, or NFL. Hey, Ryan, I know you're an Eagles fan, so don't be playing here. But by the way, I did want to say, I didn't realize the AfterBuzz housing studio or whatever he's in is in Encino, so that makes Ryan Encino man.
Oh, yeah.
There you go. So the Los Angeles Rams, they had been in Los Angeles for many years. In the 90s, they moved to St. Louis. They were in St. Louis for 15, 20 some odd years, and then they moved back to Los Angeles about 3 years ago. And so there are rules in the NFL about changing your logo and changing your uniform and all this kind of stuff. So this year, 3 years later, was supposed to be the big year. They were going to have a new uniform, a new logo. They're building a new stadium that's going to be finished this summer over in Inglewood. Beautiful new stadium. And so today they had the reveal of their new official logo and the official colors of the team. And it was very exciting. And there had actually been a leak of a potential NFL draft day hat with the new logo on it a couple weeks ago. And the response was venomous. Everybody hated the logo. And the Rams organization came out and they were like, no, that's not the new logo. Well, apparently what they meant was the color scheme on the hat was not the new logo. The logo was actually accurate. So they did this huge launch video today. They did announce a lot of programs that they're doing to help out the community during the COVID-19 outbreak. But yes, so this is the secondary logo that Ryan has just put up on the screen. I don't know if you can see it yet. But this,
you can.
It's the secondary logo is a ram head. Now they've gone with this royal blue and a yellow color they're calling Sol, S-O-L. This looks to me like a sophomore in art class, maybe. Kind of drew that and was very pleased with themselves and turned that in and got maybe a B+ on it for effort. And then there is the LA logo that has a big ram horn in it. It looks more like a crescent roll from Pillsbury. And most people are thinking, hey, this kind of actually looks like a Chargers logo.
Yeah.
Oh, he's got...
So.
I know what the problem is. It's the wrong team, Ben. It's the
Ben,
wrong
he's got
team.
the other one up.
It should be the Browns. They used to be the Cleveland Rams. It's the wrong city, Ben.
Well, you're not wrong, because the Rams did start off in Cleveland in the 1940s, I believe.
The more you know.
But yeah, But here's my thing. I do not
Ben,
like
the new one he's got up.
What?
Ryan has the other one up as well.
Yes. That one was just up as well. But I do not like either of these logos. But as a Rams fan, I know that the team is more than the logos. I'm very excited to see what the new uniforms look like. I know these logos will be on the uniform at some placing, but I hope they're not super prominent. Hopefully they're going to take this backlash from the internet, because pretty much 80% of people on the internet hate these logos. But I'm excited about the team this year. I'm excited to see what the new uniforms look like. But I just have to accept we're stuck with these logos for the team for the foreseeable future.
But it could be like Sonic the Hedgehog, though.
It's true. They could Sonic the Hedgehog.
They could Sonic. Yeah. So here's my question. This is football, right?
Yes, this is football.
That's the one where the ball is brown and pointy.
It is an oblong.
It's the one you play board games during, Derek.
Settlers
of Catan.
That doesn't narrow it down.
Oblong-shaped ball.
All right.
Yeah.
They call it football because you kick it twice in the game.
And here in Los Angeles, we actually do have sports fans, guys. Believe it or not, Hollywood has sports fans. It's hard to believe. Ben is probably one of the biggest ones, and he'll keep us apprised of what's going on there. So, as we move on, we are moving on from sports to something just as big for those of us here. Katie, if you could give us the updates to the conventions this week, the convention and other stuff update that everybody's interested in.
Yeah, so as you guys know, a lot of events have been getting canceled or rescheduled due to COVID-19. So this is like a little update on some of the other events that are either reworking stuff or rescheduling. First of all is Funko recently announced, before COVID-19 happened, they announced that they were going to do an appearance at WonderCon, which they have not normally done. So this was going to be their kickoff to WonderCon. As you know, they're always at Emerald City Comic Con and San Diego Comic Con, but this year they did announce WonderCon. Unfortunately, the WonderCon did get rescheduled, as if we don't know when till, but it is getting rescheduled. So Funko is still going to have their Funko Drops. They have been announcing them all week, but they're going to be doing a virtual con. I don't know if you guys tuned into the Funko's handle when their social media, when they did virtual con for ECCC. Basically, it's an event. They stream stuff live from their app, and they encourage people to participate with different hashtags, and then they do, of course, release the exclusives online. So we'll post you guys more info about the actual virtual con as it gets closer, because it's not till next month, but we'll keep you posted on that on the Twitter. And then Emerald City Comic Con was rescheduled to August 21st through 23rd. So
cool.
Still a little ways away. Should be safe by then, I'm hoping. Free Comic Book Day, as you guys know, is normally on the 1st, right?
Which on the first Saturday in May.
Saturday. Yeah. So it got postponed indefinitely, or delayed indefinitely. So we will hear more. If there's something changes, we'll let you know. And then Whedon Con has been postponed until Halloween, October 30th through November 1st. And then we have QuaranCon, which I don't know what this one is, Jim.
Well,
is it?
It's a brand new thing. Like we're all in quarantine. So it's QuaranCon. It's something that just popped up recently up in Sacramento.
All right.
Yeah, and
so
it's being sponsored by the Sac Geeks. The Sac Geeks have a Facebook feed up there where they kind of like organize everybody in the Sacramento area around the nerd stuff, and it's kind of cool.
Well, it's been announced for March 21st. And it's going to be it's an online thing, right?
Hey, wait. We just missed March 21st, and that was this past week.
Yeah, so
Yeah,
I was going to say 23rd. I mean,
Whoops,
the dates
whoops,
are kind
sorry,
of running
sorry.
together for me, but I'm pretty sure this is the 23rd.
What is it?
Yeah. So we'll check in and see how that one went.
Yeah, sorry about that,
Time no
y'all.
longer has
Oh, my
meaning.
bad.
Planet Comic-Con in Kansas City was moved to August 16th through 18th. So a lot of the conventions that happened this early spring are going to be postponed till summer. Nearly 50 guests have confirmed for the August show already, which is awesome. That's good considering that it got rescheduled. And then that includes Adam Savage, Rachel Scarston from the other show that I do, after show I do from Batwoman. Then the trios from Karate Kid, Cobra Kai, and Stranger Things. Things that are canceled: Roanoke Valley Comic-Con, Big Apple Comic-Con in New York, I'm assuming, East Coast Comic-Con in Syracuse,
Secaucus.
New Jersey. Secaucus. I can never say that. I don't know why. Secaucus, New Jersey, and Tidewater Comic-Con in Virginia Beach, and VidCon in Las Vegas. So a lot of those things, as well as, I forgot to mention it last week, but the Renaissance Fair that both Ben and I love to go to has been canceled. They originally postponed it, but it hasn't officially been canceled for this season. So a little bit sad, but we understand the circumstances, of course.
Although, Katie, I will mention that they have done an incredible thing, and they've offered to buy back tickets from this year and send you a ticket for next year in exchange, as well as a complimentary ticket matching every ticket that you exchange. So it's basically a 2-for-1 buyback program for tickets.
Buddy.
Yeah.
Did you see that it's canceled or postponed? I'm sorry, Katie, I missed that.
It was postponed, but this week they announced that it was going to be canceled.
So,
because it was postponed till later. It was postponed until early April, but unfortunately, because the new rule is till the 20th of April, it was already would have had to postpone it, till summer.
If we're nice to them, we get to be their +1, Jim. And maybe too, you Derek, as well.
I've never been to a Ren Fair. I really want to go to one.
I feel like Derek, have you been to a Ren Fair before?
I haven't, and I feel like it is a betrayal of who I am. Or
It is.
It is.
I'm shocked.
You should be beaten with a wand.
Hey, go ahead, Katie.
But I know Derek and Ben and I said that we will have like an honorary tribute to Ren Fair and have our drinking horns on one of these shows in the next few weeks.
We should just have our own Ren Fair, like in somebody's place.
Why don't we have an online Ren Fair here at the Con Guy?
It's got to be less than 10 people. Oh, online. Yeah, sure.
So,
it's fine. I have my elf ears. I can do that.
Right now.
Speaking of what we've been streaming, by the way, Derek, I just want to let you know I'm on the second to the last episode of Picard on CBS All Access.
Yeah.
Wow, that is such a good show. That is such a good show.
It's been exciting. Yeah. And
he's got a big mouth on him, though.
What?
He's a bit mouthy.
Whoa.
It's more the Logan version of Picard.
A bit.
Oh, I know.
Well, they are,
Here's what I don't get is like Star Trek
is
always been
family friendly.
It's always been kind of family friendly, but this one's family friendly, all except for they have to keep on dropping the F-bombs. It doesn't offend me, but it's like
it went from this to this.
Yeah, it's kind of weird, but it doesn't really fit either.
Yeah. Now that they're on a streaming platform, they're doing some things like that to be a little edgier. I think a lot of these reboots and renewals are doing that kind of thing. And some fans, I think, are just a little bit split on it because we're seeing this again. But in many ways, the tone is very different from Star Trek: The Next Generation that we knew way back in the day.
Yeah,
that's an example.
Kind of like the Commodore, or the Admiral of the Federation sitting there talking to Picard and dropping the F-bomb to him. Like, wow, that was so unnecessary. It just kind of doesn't fit the tone. The whole rest of the show feels so very much exactly like Next Generation, but I hate to say it, the writing's a little bit more sophisticated, which I'm really liking.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways, this is not that show, so we're gonna move on. Derek, speaking of stuff that we've been watching and stuff that we would start to watch, the major distributors, most of the major movie companies have had to rearrange their release schedule. For one, because theaters are closed right now. AMC, Regal, Cinemark, three of the biggest distributors in the country have all shut all of their theaters right now. And I know that, like Katie said, I think April, it's like later in April is when we expect to see cinemas open back up. Although, here's a cool piece of trivia.
Yeah.
Drive-in theaters are having their best week ever. Isn't that crazy?
I did read about that.
Really?
I've never been to a drive-in.
Yeah, they're having well, not their and the best week ever was back in the 60s. But I mean, drive-in movies are having.
It's how Jim was born.
Hey, Mom, thanks for watching. Luke. All right.
I've always
yeah,
wanted to
so
go to a
talking
drive-in.
about
drive-in.
But so Derek's going to tell us go through the movies that have been bumped from where they were supposed to be coming out.
Yeah, so some of the things that we've been looking forward to for a while, we've just got to wait a little longer. First off, A Quiet Place Part 2 was supposed to be out already. It was supposed to come out on the 20th. They did have their New York premiere earlier this month, but right now that's been delayed with no new date announced yet. As of right now, or as of putting this list together. Mulan, Disney's live-action remake of the animated film, was originally slated for March 27th, and that now is just TBA. Same with The New Mutants, which has been pushed back several times already.
Like 2 years.
April 3rd.
It's never coming out.
You know, it will eventually. We just really have to wait. Just like we're all waiting for the mutant X gene to activate in us. Peter Rabbit.
Wouldn't that be awesome if we all got powers?
Peter Rabbit 2, The Runaway, was supposed to be released April 3rd. It's now been pushed back to August 7th.
Oh, thank God.
The Lovebirds is also supposed to be April 3rd.
Wait, shouldn't they wait till like next Easter? Wouldn't that make more sense?
You know, I have no connection with the
It's
people.
the year of the
these.
rabbit.
Who's gonna go see it in August?
I think Passover and Easter have been postponed until August as well.
They postponed Passover?
I don't think it works that way.
Oh.
The Lovebirds was also supposed to come out April 3rd. That's not been announced yet. Now, Trolls World Tour for DreamWorks is coming out.
One note, I think The Lovebirds is going to be streaming. I heard that The Lovebirds is going to be streaming because I'm actually really excited about that one.
Great. Well, a few movies are, and that's actually what I was just going to say. Trolls from DreamWorks, everything Universal owns, they've started putting stuff on demand. So Trolls on April 10th is going to be available to stream. And the same with The Invisible Man, you can stream now. And it's a little more than what it would normally cost, I believe, to rent something on Amazon. You know, lots of times it's $2.99, $3.99. It's something like $20 to rent.
It's like $20.
Yeah. But then you watch it with your family. It's still, if you're going to watch it as a couple or as a group, you're still paying less than you would to go to the theater, and you're still getting to see the movie around the time you would be seeing it initially. And we know the industry of going to movie theaters is changing anyway, and this whole situation now is just affecting that whole transformation even more. But some others that have changed. No Time to Die, the new Bond, has been moved from April 10th to November 25th. The movie Antlers, the sci-fi horror film with Kerry Russell and Jesse Plemons, that's coming out, or it was set to come out April 17th. It's now TBA. Antebellum, the new Jordan Peele, was set for April 24th. That's TBA. The new Black Widow has been pushed back from May 1st to no one knows when yet. The Personal History of David Copperfield with Dev Patel, that's been pushed back. It was May 8th. Even these May releases, many of them are pushed back. Let's see. Spiral from the Saw franchise. Woman in the Window, those are both TBA at the moment. The new Fast and Furious movie, Fast 9, was going to be out later in May, and now it's been pushed to April 2nd of next year. And then Minions: The Rise of Gru. It was, set for July 3rd, but they could not finish their post-production now because so many people are working from home or on furlough. So we're just going to have to wait and see with that one.
Yeah.
And I'm sure more announcements will be coming. Hopefully some of these good movies we'll still get to see in theaters. But
can I add something to that real quick?
Yeah.
So I don't know how many of our viewers are, but I know a lot of us here on this panel have A-List. And A-List did announce that they are halting people's subscriptions. So they're not going to be charging you, and it'll go back seamlessly once they reopen theaters, because they don't want to be charging people for movies that they can't see. They did mention you still can do the video on demand from AMC. If you guys go on the AMC app, you can rent movies directly from the AMC app as well. So that would be another place to check if you want some other movies. And there's some that like just came out in theaters that are already up on there.
Oh.
So check out those. But yeah, they put us a halt to people's subscriptions.
God bless them
Thanks for
too.
bringing that up, Katie.
God
Yeah.
bless them.
Mhm.
Yeah. Also, there's two movies. Pixar and Disney's Onward has been released into homes, which is way ahead of when they were going to do that. And also
On April 3rd, right?
It's out.
April 3rd. It's on Disney.
it's out?
It's on video on demand right now. It'll be on Disney Plus on April 3rd.
April 3rd.
Correct. Like
Wow.
right now, you can pay I think like $20, kind of like what Derek was saying for some of the other video on demand. Also, the movie Universal's The Hunt, the big controversial movie about the elites hunting down the deplorables. That movie has come out, so that is on.
Just watched it.
That's online.
Ooh, Ryan.
So there's a lot of movies. Huh?
Oh, I said I just watched it.
Okay.
One of our
You
viewers is
saw it,
asking
Brian?
if people are going to be more hesitant to go to theaters now.
Well, hey man, they weren't hesitant to go to the beach.
I know.
LA County had to shut down all the beaches because people kept
I
going.
think. Look at this. So when I went to Comic-Con, they gave Venom face masks. So this could be a new thing that we get from all studios and all the movies, like them. So these could be popular now.
I suppose they'll find a way to market it.
So,
Yep.
That's all the movies that have been moved. But right now, we are going to jump over to the movies that you can watch right now. Most of these movies are streaming if you can find them on one of the different streaming services online. But these are our 28 movies later, the best of post-apocalyptic filming, that you can, not filming, movie going that you can watch right now. And let me just explain what we did. Everybody on the team here, they kind of submitted their movies. We tried to bunch them together and see which ones. This is not numbers 1 through 28. These are 28 movies, and we are going to start with Katie. She was the first one to turn in her list, and then we're going to go Katie. We'll just go exactly like the list, guys. Katie, Luke, Ben, and Derek, and give a little bit of reason why. For those, let people know about a little bit about the movie, but of course we can't spend all night doing this. So, all right, Katie, you're up first.
All right, so the first movie I thought of, like literally the first movie I thought of when we were talking about post-apocalyptic movies was Snowpiercer, which,
Great.
if y'all have not seen it, you need to. It is a absolutely phenomenal film. Basically, all of mankind is on a train, and they're ranked by class, and there's dining cards and aquarium cards, and basically the people who are on the bottom end of society try to make it all the way to the top of the society, because, to the train, because they're basically like, this is messed up. Great cast, Chris Evans, and by the director of Parasite, and it's fantastic. So definitely, I believe it's on Netflix right now, but I'm not sure. But if it is, definitely check it out. Book of Eli, a little bit older one, but fantastic. I don't know if I need to explain this one too much. I mean, it's Denzel Washington and Mila Kunis, right? Mila Kunis, right?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
I just watched it 2 days ago.
Yeah, and it was your first time seeing it, Ryan?
No, I actually own it.
Oh, okay, yeah, it's absolutely fantastic, and I know a lot of people who are people of faith like it too, because it has a little bit of a faith component to it. On a side note, then we're going into the comedy realm of apocalyptic movies, which is Zombieland. It's one of my favorites. I love it. It makes me laugh. It makes my dad laugh, and my dad does not laugh at a lot of movies, so it's funny. Love it. I Am Legend, classic. I think probably most people have seen it by now. I think it's old enough I don't have to talk much about that one. And another one in the comedy realm that I
Got Bob Marley
absolutely
music in
love
it.
and laughed my ass off when I saw is This Is the End, because
Oh.
I loved it. It's
Great
so
choice.
so well written and just so great, and the way that they're able to play off of the actors' actual stereotypes that people think of them and play themselves, it's just genius. And
I
then
think it's one of the funniest movies they've all done because it's so self-deprecating. They all make fun of themselves.
That movie
Yeah,
is
it's-
so good. I think that movie is probably their most underrated, and I think that's my favorite Seth Rogen movie. By the way, just to add on, before this show, I wrote down as many post-apocalyptic movies I know, and I had almost everyone mentioned except for This Is the End. So I'm batting pretty high right now.
I got you.
Good.
Loser.
I have two more. The Hunger Games, obvious reasons. I mean, there was even a map online that was made this week that broke off the entire United States into the districts, which was funny. California was
I
District
saw
1.
that.
California was District 1, which means we're gonna be fine. We're gonna be good. We got this. And there's 4 movies, so you're good. That's a lot of entertainment. And The Matrix, because one of my favorite movies growing up. I know Ryan's making a face.
Is that post-apocalyptic?
It is.
Yeah, kind
Yeah,
of.
because society's pretty they're all gone.
Okay.
For the most part.
Okay.
It is a post-human society.
Okay.
Yeah.
For that
So,
movie,
and
for that
it was one of my favorite films growing up. I think it was one of the first R-rated films I ever saw, actually. So I love that movie.
1999, it
5
beat
years
out
old.
Phantom Menace for best special effects.
Which was a choice made by the Academy.
All right. Luke Cheeseman, you are up. You're taking us. You got the next 9.
All right. I'll take a break from my pedaling bike and drinking a beer and tell you my top favorite. Well, obviously, you can tell one of my favorite here is The Terminator.
Okay.
Of course, Terminator 2 is one of my favorites
I
ever.
want to
But
throw a challenge flag.
Yeah.
I don't think that's a post-apocalyptic movie
Terminator?
because it's pre-apocalyptic.
Okay, because Ben and Derek were kind of having this discussion.
It shows the
today about
future
other-
in Terminator 2.
In
the beginning.
2, but in 1, it's like this is coming. Like for all we know.
But I have Terminator 2 this
Yeah.
week.
Terminator 2 is the movie on the list.
Got it. Okay, then you know what? I
But
rescind the
yeah, I'm
challenge
wearing
flag.
the
I lose the
Terminator
timeout.
shirt.
Okay.
Yeah, okay. And I even got the Terminator glasses. All right, here we go. Continuing. Next one, Avengers Endgame. one of the
That's
most-
a good one.
That's a really good one.
I love it.
Shoot.
I really loved it. So
That's
I
funny.
could watch
I
that
want-
one
you
again
know,
and again.
You don't
Let's
think
watch
of
that
as a
one tonight and stay up till 4
post-apocalyptic
a.m.
film.
I think that works. Yeah, that totally qualifies. That's a great call. Dang.
So,
Good call.
Signs. I love the movie Signs. It's one of M. Night's best movies.
Night
About
Shyamalan.
an alien invasion and everything. Love that movie. Interstellar. We got McConaughey at one of his best roles, crying and screaming for Murph constantly. It's a good movie and very confusing at times, but pretty good movie overall. All right. Then one of my favorites in my youth was Independence Day. Will Smith really did a breakout and really became a big movie star with Independence Day. But a good classic movie. Jeff Goldblum, before he was a character of Jeff Goldblum. Amazing. It would be fun to watch him now and that's Jeff Goldblum. That's Jeff Goldblum. But such a great movie. Pixar's WALL-E, which is basically the future of what's going to happen to all of us if we keep staying at home and eating and just doing nothing but watching TV. So but it's actually a prophetic message to the future of all of us. Mad Max Fury Road was a great movie, bringing that franchise back, and I think it was done really well in kind of just a cool stylistic way. I know it would have been an easy movie for people to hate on if it wasn't done right, but I really feel like it was done pretty well. Ben, did you like it? I know you're a Mad Max kind of guy.
Oh, I love Fury Road. I think it's fantastic. And I think the feminist themes and the female empowerment in it were executed perfectly and beautifully. And as far as just a post-apocalyptic movie and to modernize the Mad Max franchise, beautifully done.
Excellent.
I thought it was one of the best films of the year.
Yeah, and even our friend Tim Scott, who doesn't seem to like a lot of movies, was like,
He
I like
hates
Mad
everything.
Max. It's a great movie. He doesn't like the big movies, but he did like that one.
Please
And
tell me
then
he
there-
talks like that.
That
He does
was a
talk
really
like that.
good
He's been on the
impression.
show. Well, yeah. And my next one is Planet of the Apes. I really enjoyed the James Franco one. It sounds terrible.
2001 version.
The 2001 version. I did enjoy that one. Some of the other ones have been pretty good as well. I do need to go back and kind of watch some of the. I've seen parts of the older ones, but I really need to go watch them because I know it's classic cinema. And as a filmmaker and a person that likes film, I really do need to go back and watch the Charleston Heston version. So maybe with this extra time we all have, maybe I'll go back and check that one out. And
All
then
right.
my last one I'm going to mention right now is Dawn of the Dead, and that's the Zack Snyder version. My friend Jake Jerley, who's done a lot of unboxing videos and other things, he was a giant zombie fan. He got me into a lot of this fandom type stuff, but he showed me that movie, and we used to, watch zombie movies, and that was one of the ones. And I really feel like Zack Snyder did a good job on that one.
All right. Thank you, Cheeseman, on the non-couch this week.
On the
Ben,
exercise bike.
On the exercise side.
On the exercise bike.
That's the first
Richard
16
Simmons.
films. Ben, you've got the next 9.
I got the next 9. So I do want to throw out there, big fan of the old school Planet of the Apes franchise. It's a blast. Go check it out. So mine, I kind of juggled between apocalyptic and post-apocalyptic and kind of, what's the word I'm thinking of? Dystopian future.
There we go.
Kind of parallels. So the first one I wanted to throw out there, I kind of dug deep back into the classics here because I am an appreciator of film, but the 1956 Invasion of the Body Snatchers, the original, a lot of these older films are kind of hard to watch. They're a little dry. They're a little slow. They're a little slow to develop, slow burn, long time coming. I can barely bring myself to watch the original 2001: A Space Odyssey. It's just so slow, but value is to be found in those old films. And 1956 Invasion of the Body Snatchers. Also, the Doctor Strangelove, or How I Learned to Stop Worrying and Love the Bomb. That one was it's satire, it's Cold War, it's nuclear apocalypse. It's also very delightful and wonderful, and you should just go check it out if you have the time.
Isn't that one of the first films to feature James Earl? I mean, the voice of Mufasa and Darth Vader.
James Earl Jones.
James Earl Jones.
Oh God, it's been so long since
He was in that movie.
He is,
Yeah, he was. You're
The
right.
guy from Sandlot?
Yeah. Exactly. Moving on, 1973, Soylent Green, with the great line from Charlton Heston, Soylent Green is people. Again, dystopian future, apocalyptic, just a lot of fun. Again, an old, early 70s, slow-moving, sci-fi, apocalyptic, dystopian future, class warfare type of thing. Package deal, Escape from New York and Escape from LA. John Carpenter, need I say more? Kurt Russell, need I say more? His name is Snake, need I say more?
You skipped one.
And you just said, need I say more 3 times, and you were saying more.
It's true.
Go on.
But it's so exciting that I felt like I had to say more, though I didn't need to.
With your eye patch.
Yeah, exactly. Kurt Russell, John Carpenter, escaping prisons in apocalyptic times, disaster movie / prison escape movie / action movie. Loads of fun. Watch New York first, then watch LA. That actually was an early on representation of this thing that we have, where we've got this classic movie, and then 15 years later we release a direct sequel to it. So you know how we're doing that these days. One that I really love is 12 Monkeys.
Yes.
12 Monkeys is so good. Terry Gilliam directed it, so that
Nice guy.
Nice guy. There you go. Oh, are you friends? Are you close personal friends?
I actually had a professor who he was very close to him, and he actually did all the behind the scenes on all of his films, including the most famous Lost in La Mancha, which was his attempt at making Don Quixote, which is renowned as the most failed film set of all time.
Ooh.
Interesting
Your
watch.
professor was on set for that?
Yeah, he was there. Yeah.
Did he make a documentary about that?
He did, yeah. It's called Lost in La Mancha.
Okay.
Check it out.
There it is.
Don Quixote, as a side note, is kind of a cursed story. Like, people have been trying to make a film version of Don Quixote for years, and none of them practically have been successful. So there's that. Right. Next up on the list, Waterworld. Waterworld. Oh my goodness gracious, Waterworld. If you've ever been to Universal Studios Hollywood, you can go to the Waterworld stunt show. An early appearance of Jack Black in Waterworld.
Oh wow.
Waterworld is kind of the Mad Max on the ocean type of movie. If that
is the opposite of Mad Max.
Yeah, it's the opposite. It's Mad Max, except instead of the desert and dry, they're on the ocean, but they're still looking for drinkable water. Yeah, and there's no land. A big thing about it.
Did you have the action figures?
Say that again.
Did you have the action figures?
I did not.
I didn't either, but I remember they had them. Like one of my friends had them.
Oh, nice. One of my friends had the Ghostbusters action figures, and I was very jealous. To bring it to the topic, 28 Days Later. We can't go through this list and not mention 28 Days Later, which a lot of us on the show are very much appreciators, at least of the early seasons of The Walking Dead. And of course, the pilot of The Walking Dead in many ways is a tribute to 28 Days Later, when you have Cillian Murphy, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So he's waking up and running around, and he ends up in the. But the zombies are fast, which is fun.
And they turn very quickly.
Yeah. That was
very different from 28 Days, starring Sandra Bullock.
Exactly.
If you want to watch that, you really want to make sure you get the right movie.
What show or movie is that where they're like, "What do you mean you watched 28 Days Later instead of 28 Days?"
The Office.
Is that The Office?
Yeah,
that's right. So yeah, there's that great scene in 28 Days Later where the guy looks up and the drop of blood from the impaled zombie like falls into his eye, and but there's like a camera shot inside the drop of blood. It's really cool.
Yeah.
One that I think really impacted me, because I think, what year did this come out? 2006. So I was in my early 20s. Children of Men.
Great.
That was so good, and it impacted me a lot when I first saw it, because it was like the first post-apocalyptic movie that came out when I was in my early 20s. So or at least that I went and saw at that age. So that one's really great. The storyline is basically people just stop having children, and then this I don't know. I guess it's a 14-year-old movie. I can spoil things, right? So
dude,
then this
spoil away.
Right. This woman has a baby, and I kept wanting to say.
Well, she's
Gerard,
pregnant,
Clive
bro.
Well, she's pregnant, and Clive Owen basically plays this guy who has to kind of shelter her and protect her while they're traveling. And it's just great. It's really well filmed. It's well directed. It's well written. It's a good one. And one I didn't have on my list that I wanted to make as a slight mention: The Postman with Kevin Costner. Also really good. And that one is like a post-apocalyptic, post-societal kind of thing as well.
And Ben, you missed your number 4.
Oh, did I miss my number 4?
Come on, Ben. Come on, dude.
Save the best for last.
What's going on, dude? What is this? The Rams logo premiere? Like, what's going on, dude?
November 2019, Blade Runner. Widely considered, and I'll even say this is
just rewatched it.
This is controversial. I'm not the biggest Blade Runner fan.
Yeah.
But I love Ryan is so upset. I love everything that Blade Runner represents. I love the nerdiness that Blade Runner represents. I once, many years ago...
You could say you love Blade Runner, right?
I
do
love
it. Say it. Say it on the show.
I love Blade Runner as a concept. Years ago, I went out...
Edit out that last part.
Years ago, I went out on a date with a woman, and I went out on far more dates with her than I should have, because on our first date it was raining, and she opened an umbrella, and it was the light umbrella, like in Blade Runner, and I was like, oh yeah, and we weren't right for each other, but I went out on like 5 more dates with her just because of that. So,
well, works.
Nice.
All right, that is 25 of our 28. And Derek, sadly, we are coming to the end of the list. And Derek, you only have 3, but you also have our honorable mentions as well.
Yeah, and I'm going to add to the honorable mentions.
All right, cool.
All right, and some of this is a little outside the box. All right, Battlestar Galactica.
Perfect choice. Love it.
The reboot in 2004 started out with a miniseries, so we can kind of count that as movie, I guess. But it starts with the end of the world's plural, and from then on, humanity is just barely struggling to survive. It's some great drama, really great as sci-fi, great as a kind of war series. There's so many different ways to look at it, and love it. The World's End which I'm also surprised none of us mentioned Shaun of the Dead.
That's
I was going to mention it, and I thought somebody already did. That's why it wasn't on my list. But Shaun of the Dead, great zombie movie, hilarious, but also as the great scary moments, like the jump scares and stuff that make it work. The World's End is also Simon Pegg, Nick Frost, and Martin Freeman. It's a group of buddies who decide they're going to reenact their pub crawl from 20 years earlier, and then aliens start invading while they're in this little British town.
I love that movie.
It's really good, and I love how clever the humor is, and how each pub they go to has a name that is kind of a hint to what the action set piece that's going to happen at that pub. And I also love it because, when I was in Edinburgh, there is a pub in Edinburgh called The World's End, and they play with the puns stuff. The reason for that is a little bit of nerdiness here. Is because that's at the edge of where the old town used to be, where there was basically the city walls, and for anyone who lived in the city in the medieval era, that was kind of the edge of the world for them. Yeah, and so in the little narrow alleys in the city are called closes. So you've got a sign that says World's End Close hanging over this little alley. It's quite a lot of fun.
That is the third film in the Cornetto trilogy, by the way.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yes. So the Cornetto trilogy is Shaun of the Dead, Hot Fuzz,
which is great.
Shaun of the Dead's actually a good one for this as well.
Yes.
Yeah, he said that.
I did. It's okay.
Luke, you got Luke.
I'm biking here. I'm exercising and trying to burn some calories.
All right, and another one. Again, going outside the box a little bit, but the Lord of the Rings trilogy, it is apocalyptic in the end, and in my opinion, it's always the right time to watch the Lord of the Rings trilogy. Yeah, and J.R.R. Tolkien had this concept that he called eucatastrophe, where things are basically falling apart and the whole world is destroyed, but in a good way. I don't even know if I'm actually doing that idea justice, but
that's right. What Derek also didn't J.R.R. Tolkien the Lord of the Rings trilogy was, what was it talking about in the real world? What was the real world, analogy for?
Well, as many people know, he was a veteran of World War I, and there was and as he was writing it, World War II was going on, and he wasn't trying to directly just write an allegory, but a lot of that was influencing his writing during all that time. And he was writing from the experience of actually going to war, and you see that all of this stuff in there where it feels like the whole world's falling apart. You feel like some wounds never heal, and it spoke to kind of the bonds that are formed by going through that together. But yeah, I can't say enough how amazing Tolkien is.
Amazing.
Yeah.
True.
But since I had a short list, I was the last one to turn things in, I guess, and everybody else took some of the best titles. But some of the honorable mentions. I know I mentioned a TV show. We didn't talk about The Last Man on Earth, which it's very clever, but it's also about humanity was wiped out by a virus, and I kind of don't want to talk about that very much. But it's a very great show. We talked a little bit about Mad Max Fury Road, but of course you have the original 3 Mad Max films. I've only seen the first one, and apparently I need to watch the others. I've been meaning to.
Yes,
Derek and I have find them on the streaming services that I have.
What was the conversation you guys were having, Ben, about Mad Max, pre versus post-apocalyptic?
Well, yeah, I was going to say the conversation that Derek and I were having over text was the first Mad Max film is kind of an apocalyptic film. It takes place while the world is kind of falling apart. So he's in that film. He's still a police officer with a functioning police department in Australia, and they're trying to keep order essentially. Then in the second one, Mad Max Fury Road, it is full on post-apocalyptic. He's off the reservation, kind of in his souped up crazy car. That's the Road Warrior. And then in the
Beyond Thunderdome, where Tina Turner
Beyond Thunderdome is where it digs even deeper into the world. You've got Gastown. You've got I was going to say Diana Ross. That's not it. Tina Turner. You've got Tina Turner, and you've got this whole thing with the Thunderdome and the politics of Gastown and Master Blaster and the underworld and all this crazy stuff, and it builds on just George Miller's fascination with like the grotesque and human deformities and that sort of thing. And then in Fury Road, he was able to just blow that all out of the water with an even bigger budget. And so it all just kind of builds as you go along.
Another one, it's not on our list right here, but we didn't mention World War Z, which is another fun movie with fast zombies. Granted, it's totally different from the book, and I think some people were disappointed in that, but I saw the movie first and still kind of enjoyed it. Planet Terror, who can tell us about that?
Again, Planet Terror is half of the Grindhouse pairing that comes from Rodriguez. What?
Nothing.
No. It comes from Rodriguez and Quentin Tarantino, because there was Death Proof and Planet Terror, both of which could probably go on this list. But it's a Grindhouse movie. It's an over-the-top action, overly violent blood and gore, just a fun movie. Which was the whole point of the Grindhouse thing, was just this over-the-top, crazy, wild. Bloody, violent movie. Cool. Features Rose McGowan with an amputated leg that she replaces with a machine gun. So
there you go. That's all you need to know.
I have seen that image.
Yeah.
Okay.
I can. Yeah.
You gonna wrap up these, Derek?
What?
You gonna wrap up the last couple here?
Yes, I'm going to. Next on the list, Dogma, which is another one I've not seen but know a little bit about. Yes. I know, Ben, you're a Kevin Smith fan.
Yeah, again, I'm a big Kevin Smith fan, so this one deals a lot with Kevin Smith grew up Catholic, and he injects a lot of his knowledge, of his extensive theological knowledge, particularly of Catholicism, into his films. This one was the mother of the theological films with him. Dogma, by the way, not licensed right now, so I believe you can watch it on YouTube in its entirety for free. Or at least it was.
Really?
When I searched it just now, it did come up with a link, and see what happens when I click on it.
There you go. But yeah, it's about two angels that have been kicked out of heaven, and they're trying to get back into heaven. But in order to get back into heaven, it will bring about the end of the world. And Jay and Silent Bob are prophets who are tasked with stopping these angels, essentially. And it's a comedy, and if you're not easily offended by theological comedy, I personally don't feel like it. Like as a religious person myself, I don't feel like it's blasphemous, but I think some people could very easily take offense to it if you don't. You know, I don't want to say if you don't have a sense of humor, because I know there's a certain level that you don't want to have a sense of humor about your faith, but at the same time, to be able to joke about the dogmatic ideas of human law and institution and that view of faith, that's where the comedy comes from, I think.
Yep.
And they do have a disclaimer at the beginning of the movie saying that they're not trying to be incendiary or inflammatory. It's meant to be a comedy, and that's all. And they ask people to, not be judgmental of them, because judgment is reserved for God and God alone, it says.
There you go.
Yeah. So,
Derek, one more.
So I can't judge. I just mentioned in passing earlier, but the original Planet of the Apes. This one was spoiled for me as a very small child when we were talking. I asked my dad what the movie was about, and he just summarized the whole thing for me and told me the ending. Yeah.
No.
Yeah, he showed you the end with.
Unfortunately, but
Liberty.
not too many years after that, there was the
you
DVD
started watching
it, or like the remastered version came out, and they had that iconic image on the cover, so that no child would have been safe walking through Walmart from those spoilers.
Oh my god!
It is a great film. It was one of those things where like it had just a story that had not been done before, and it was and Charlton Heston, can't not love the guy.
I love the original Planet of the Apes, the 1968 version. I would watch it. It was one of my dad and mom's favorite movies when I was growing up. You remember the classic line, "Get your dirty rotten," or "your dirty rotten ape." I forget the line. It's been so long.
Get your damn paws off me, you damn dirty ape. Get your paws off me, you damn dirty ape. That's what.
Yeah, that was so great, so great. So that is our 28 movies later, plus our special mentions. Hey, Ryan, should we end here, or do we have time for that one last?
We have time, dude. We have time.
all
I
right.
just wanted to throw.
Ryan, do you have any additions?
Oh yeah, Ryan, throw us out some of yours.
You know, again, I wrote 21 down.
Yeah.
You guys mentioned 18 of them, but I'm shocked you don't have The Road on there.
Oh yeah, Carmen McCarthy.
The Road is like one of the most messed up movies I've ever seen, but it's definitely, as in a post-apocalyptic movie, like pretty scarring and memorable. Yeah. But it's really good. Viggo Mortensen, who doesn't he picks his projects very particularly. He's incredible in this. It's such a sad movie, though.
Yeah. Our chat mentioned that actually. Diamond Rattler mentioned that on there.
Shout out to Diamond.
Good call.
Yeah, and the only other one was there's this movie called The Crazies that I love. It's sort of a zombie movie. It's not quite that. There's like some kind of disease going around that makes people kind of like go a little insane, and it's really well put together. And then I actually, I don't love it. Yeah.
My old acting coach Brett Rickaby is in The Crazies.
No way.
Yeah.
I love The Crazies. There's a moment where he's like, "I'm not sick," and it's crazy. But and the only other one, I actually, I don't love this movie. But I think Terminator Salvation is a straight-up post-apocalyptic movie.
Yeah.
And it's got a good trailer.
Very true.
So that's it. But yeah, Jim, go to your final segment.
All right, Ryan, thank you so much. So, guys, there we go. That's our 28 movies later, plus a few extras. We will put those on the website so everybody can have those movies. Does anybody have any movies to throw in real quick before we finish out with a cool section from Ben? Katie?
I have one more, because I'm wearing the shirt. Pride and Prejudice and Zombies.
Oh, yeah!
It's great. It's Pride and Prejudice. The girls are kicking ass and killing zombies. It's the same story of Pride and Prejudice, just with them trying to kill zombies and save the world while they do it. So, by the same author who did Abraham Lincoln and Vampire Hunter, I believe. It's based off a book.
For people who love 80s movies...
And Night of the Living Dead.
What's that, Luke?
And War of the Worlds. Night of the Living Dead and War of the Worlds, we can't not mention those because those were definitely groundbreaking, and both have had remakes, and both versions have been good.
And although I have not seen it, everyone says that if you are a fan of 80s movies, watch Night of the Comet, where two women have the time of their life after a comet wipes out all life on the planet. So sounds like a cool 80s movie to me. All right. This is how we're going to end the show tonight. Last week, we had a really cool moment of all of us were sitting at home. The show had ended. We were kind of talking, and we all started kind of sharing our cribs. We started sharing our cool stuff in our rooms and the cool stuff that we'd collected. And since this is a Comic-Con and fan convention group, everybody had a lot of stuff to show. But I'm going to tell you, there was one person that kind of put us all to shame, and that was Ben Cleaver. Ben Cleaver, would you mind giving us a high-level tour of your fan fortress that you have there?
All right. Well, I would be honored, and it would be a pleasure. Let me go ahead and run this real quick. So Ryan had us kind of send in short videos, so we're going to be posting those on the AfterBuzz Popcorn Talk Instagram and social media, but I only have 60 seconds, and there's way more than 60 seconds worth of stuff. So I'm going to go through a little bit of the stuff that I did in the video, and then I'm going to show you some things that you won't get to see on that video. So this is exclusive Con Guy content right here. So let me just get you out of my thing here, and then I gotta turn my light on. Hold on. So behind me we have my wall of Star Wars. I should turn off this ring light. So I've got my wall of Star Wars. I've got the original trilogy posters. Up here is a replica made by a prop maker that is a friend of ours of the melted Darth Vader helmet. His name is Igor Pinsky. He goes by Mr. Pinsky Props on Instagram. This was a wedding gift.
So cool.
Yeah, it's awesome. It was a wedding gift by my wife. Also a gift to me, a DL-44 replica. I've got several pops down here. I have 3 eras of Han, Chewie, and Lando, but I'm waiting on a couple of Chewie pops yet as well.
Where do you get mini shelves like that?
I just bought them on Amazon. Yeah, they're just floating shelves. You screw them into the wall.
Very good.
Yeah. I got some more shelves over here. Boba Fett, I'm waiting on a Han and Carbonite. I've got C-3PO. I'm waiting on the barge cocktail waitress R2-D2 to put there.
Nice.
Right now, there are placeholders there. They're the Coke and Sprite bottles from Galaxy's Edge. Yoda, waiting on an Obi-Wan to put there, and then I've got Vader, Leia, and Luke, and I'm waiting on a Padme. Then if you come over here, I've got some Batmans. Okay, this is my Batman.
Oh my gosh.
So this is the
That is
Shakespeare
the most
bust.
baller thing you got.
Right? This is the new looking Batman. I brought him on the show one time. 66 Batman with a surfboard, and Batman and the Joker with their surfboard pops. You know, kind of up here, I've got some Kansas Jayhawks paraphernalia. And one of the most wonderful things that I have outside of my Robin Hood collector's items here.
Disney
is
Robin
this-
Hood, my favorite too.
Oh, yeah.
Did we just become best friends?
We did. Oh, you can't kind of.
Can we go to a Rams game?
Yes. This is a Darkwing Duck photo signed by Jim Cummings, whose voice made up about 98% of my childhood.
Yeah.
So,
Boy,
yeah,
we like all the same things, Ben.
I know. You've been in this.
I'm sorry, guys. I'm better with Ben through fandoms. I have, but I'm just realizing. I was wearing a very tight suit that Jim mispicked out for me.
So hey Brian, can you tell us where we can find all the fan fortresses coming up?
I've got no audio.
no audio.
Hey guys,
Ryan,
Fan Fortress. We're going to be posting a few of them online.
There he is.
So keep an eye on the AfterBuzz Twitter for that, and reply with your own Fan Fortress. What is it? 60 seconds of you recording yourself and in your house. You're cooped up at home. You don't know what to do with yourself. Well, record yourself and show us your Fan Fortress. Is it plants? Is it Star Wars? Is it sports memorabilia? Is it clothing? Is it shoes? Are you a sneakerhead? Derek, are you? I don't know. You'll have to stay tuned and find out. So just reply and tweet at us your Fan Fortress at AfterBuzzTV.
All right, and Ryan will have those up pretty soon. I know Derek did one, Katie's done one,
This
Luke
week,
did
man.
one.
This week.
I know Ben's done one. Oh, I got to do one.
You gotta do one.
All right. Hey, everybody, thank you so much for tuning in this week to the Con Guy Comic-Con Prep Show Home Edition. We really do appreciate you guys hanging tough with us, because this is not the easiest time. But, since we're all at home, this is a great way to gather. Please subscribe on iTunes, YouTube, and wherever you listen. You can follow us on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. Leave good comments. You can find me at Jim Frye LA on Twitter. Hey, where can we find everybody else?
Hi everyone. Once again, I'm Derek Sams. And I just need to point out, today is the 4th anniversary of the very first episode of the Con Guy Comic-Con Prep Show.
Oh, 4th anniversary, Derek. Thank you.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, it's
Holy
been 4
cow.
years. Can you believe it?
That's a huge
That's
deal.
a good.
Guys, let's go out. Is there a bar?
Let's go to Casa.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, you know what? We can all
Let's
stay
break
on
in
and
Casa
just-
post-apocalyptic style.
Yes. Well, it's a party. But yeah, you can find theconguy.com on Twitter at theconguy.com spelled out, and you can find me at conguyderek.
Wow.
And
yeah. Who are you?
Ryan,
Katie?
you go first.
Beautiful.
Oh, I'm Ryan Nelson, and you. If we make it out of this whole thing alive, y'all, we got to celebrate your 4-year anniversary of viewing the Con Guy Comic-Con
Right.
Prep Show.
We'll have a party.
Congratulations. And Katie, where can people find you?
I'm Katie. You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at KT_Christine, or on the Con Guy social media, as well as the Batwoman after show on Sundays at 10 p.m. or Riverdale after show, along with Brian also in the booth on that one at 9:10 on Wednesdays, but they're on hiatus right now. So.
Hey everybody, my name's Ben Cleaver. You can find me on all social media at BENKLIEWER. And right now I'm not doing anything because I'm an actor and a comedian and a bartender, and everything's closed.
Hey Ben,
So
why do
yes.
you always carry around that red cup?
because whenever Ben Cleaver shows up, it's always a party.
There's this job pitch right there. Hire this man.
And Luke.
All right, and I am Cheeseman on the exercise bike round. Now I am almost at 96 calories while sitting here and talking to all of you, but you can find me on theconguy.com or on my exercise bike.
All right. And last thing, real quick, and before we head out, we don't talk a lot about The Walking Dead very much anymore, Derek, I just wanted to let you know, and those of you who kind of used to watch it, last night was Michonne's final episode. So if you have not had a chance to watch it, it was good. They sent her off in style. And last thing, I have this past week, I was reminded these comic books, The Woods, Trees 1 and 2, and American Vampire. These are comic books that I received from a very special friend who passed away this week. And it was not coronavirus, but it was, his name was Rick. Very spectacular man. Me and Luke and Derek, we all knew him. He's a really good guy. And I'm going to read those comics this week in honor of Rick, who handed those off to me. Just to remind you guys, be good to each other, love each other, and the people in your lives are more important than anything else. So don't forget about that. All right. Thank you guys so much for tuning in, guys. We will see you next time.
We love Rick.
Yeah, love you, Rick.
Thanks. Good night.
From producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, and the entire Popcorn Talk Network, we would like to thank you for tuning in. For questions or comments, be sure to visit popcorntalk.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of the Popcorn Talk Network.